Her face hit the dirt before she even realized she had fallen. Blood and dust stung her lips. The world swirled in heat and grit. Behind her, the stagecoach wheels churned, kicking sand into her hair. A shout for the horses to stop went unanswered. Clara Monroe lay sprawled, her knee bleeding through torn fabric, the sun scorching her pale skin. She had traveled 2,000 miles for a husband she had never met. And this was how her new life began, alone, in pain, under the unrelenting sun. A shadow fell across her. Tall, still, heavy with presence. She looked up. Graham Holt, the man she had married by letter 3 weeks ago, stood before her. 47, rugged, a faded shirt clinging to him with sweat. His eyes, steady and unreadable, had seen too many summers in Dust Valley to flinch at suffering. He crouched beside her without speaking. When he finally did, his voice was low, rough, but not unkind. "You hurt bad, miss." She tried to sit, wincing. "I'm fine." Her throat was dry, her pride even drier. He extended a hand. She hesitated, then placed her trembling fingers in his. His palm was rough, strong, yet gentle, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. She barely reached his shoulder, heart hammering. Against her better judgment, she whispered, "Too small. Will it even fit?" The corner of his mouth twitched. That slow half-smile tugged at his jaw. "We'll make it fit, ma'am." For a moment, the heat, dust, and distant wind froze around them. He led her to the waiting wagon. Horses snorted, and a few townsfolk stared, whispering behind gloved hands. Clara's cheeks burned, not from the sun, but from shame. One man tipped his hat but offered no smile. "You're riding with Holt, huh?" he muttered. "Careful, ma'am. Dust don't settle easy around him." She didn't understand what he meant. Not yet. She didn't know what kind of man Graham Holt was, a protector. A loner. A stranger who had just become her husband. The wagon rolled slowly through the shimmering heat. Clara sat stiff beside him, skirt torn, leg throbbing under a layer of dust and blood. Every bump on the road sent pain shooting up her thigh. He noticed. "You'll open that cut again," he said quietly. "I said I'm fine," she replied, looking away. He didn't argue. He just flicked the reins, jaw set tight. The road stretched endlessly ahead. Golden fields bent under the sun. By the time they reached the ranch, light glared against her skin, and the air wavered like glass. Graham stopped the wagon, stepped down, and lifted her without asking. He set her carefully on a bench near the porch. His touch was gentle, yet her heart leaped. "You're bleeding again." He crouched, rolling her skirt just enough to examine the scrape. His hands were rough, tanned, scarred, yet careful as if handling glass. He poured water from a tin cup, washed the dirt away, and tied a clean strip of cloth around her leg. Clara winced. "Sorry." "It's fine," she whispered, quieter this time. "You didn't have to do that." "I did. You're my wife now. Can't have you limping around the yard." The words hit harder than she expected. She wasn't used to being cared for like this, not with patience, not with hands that could crush but chose not to. That evening, she saw him sitting alone on the porch, pipe cold between his fingers. "You ever get lonely out here?" she asked. "Lonely is different from alone," he said. "I came here after I lost my brother. Dust Valley's quiet. Lets a man remember without losing his mind." She stayed quiet. The silence between them wasn't empty anymore, it was shared. "You hungry a little? Then let's get you fed." He nodded toward the ranch house. Inside, everything was big, the chairs, table, walls. Yet a small room in the corner felt just hers. Bed new, curtains white, desk low enough for her to reach. "You made this?" she asked. He nodded. Didn't know your size, so I guessed small. She smiled. For the first time since leaving Boston, she felt warmth that had nothing to do with the sun. Later, she tried to cook. Burned biscuits, undercooked beans, the kitchen filled with smoke. Graham walked in, coughed, opened a window without a word. "You can laugh," she said, flustered. He finally did, low and warm. "I was just thinking, maybe we'll survive on coffee till you learn the rest." Her laughter joined his. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like home. She turned to thank him, but he was already gone, boots crunching on gravel. Watching him move, steady and deliberate, made her curious. Something in that quiet steadiness calmed her. Days passed. Her leg healed slowly. Life on the ranch moved like heat waves over the horizon, long, shimmering, and steady. Graham worked from dawn till dark, quiet as ever. The silence weighed on her. By noon, she decided to ride into town, for sugar, maybe cloth, anything to feel human again. The general store was half empty. Men leaned near the counter, hats low, talking too loud. Roy Tanner turned as she entered, grin crooked, eyes glassy with whiskey. "Well, now, that must be Mrs. Holt. Heard Graham sent east for a wife." Clara forced a polite smile. "Just here for sugar." He stepped closer, too close. "You sure he treats you right? A man like him's got a temper." He grabbed her wrist. Fear surged. "Let me go," she said, voice shaking. "Relax, sweetheart. Just talking." The door banged open. Graham stood there, shadow spilling across the floor. His eyes locked on Roy's hand around her arm. Silence fell. "Let her go, Roy," he said. Roy smirked but didn't move. Graham's voice, low and steady, cut through the tension. "You ever touch her again, I'll bury you right where you stand." No one doubted him. Roy's grin cracked. He backed away, muttering curses. Graham didn't look back. He took Clara's hand and led her outside, gentle now. "You all right?" he asked. Clara nodded. "I am now." He exhaled slowly, reins loose. "Folks like him talk big. Don't listen to a word they say." The ride back was silent, but not cold. Something had shifted. He had protected her without thought, and she felt safe enough to breathe. Dust Valley stretched before them, warm and quiet under a golden sun. Whispers traveled faster than the wind. Days after the incident, two women rode up while Clara drew water. Bonnet strings tight, faces shiny with judgment. "We heard what happened with Roy. Poor thing must have been frightful." The other leaned closer. "Some say your husband's temper is worse than Roy's. Folks talk, you know." Clara froze, bucket slipping, water spilling across her skirt. "I don't listen to gossip," she said softly. "Some folks say Graham killed a man in Texas. Shot him in the back. You trust a man like that?" They rode off, laughter echoing down the dusty street. Her heart thudded. Killed a man. Could it be true? That evening, Graham returned later than usual, dust-covering boots and face unreadable. "Something wrong in town?" she asked. "Same old talk." "Let it blow over," he said. "Is it true? Did you really?" He stared out the window, slow breath. "I've fought for what's mine. Sometimes that means blood, but I'm not the man they paint. No, things I ain't proud of. Out here, sometimes a man has to fight to stay alive. I won't defend myself to folks who don't matter." Next morning, they rode into town. Every eye turned. Mid-word, someone muttered, "Murderer." Graham kept walking, shoulders stiff, eyes forward. Clara stopped, chest burning. "You're wrong about him," she said, voice trembling but clear. He's the kindest man I've ever known. If you think he's dangerous, ask who made him that way. Silence answered. Graham looked at her, surprised, then smiled. Not much, but real. As they rode home, golden light painted Dust Valley. Clara couldn't shake one thought: if the town was against them, what would happen if trouble came knocking again? Sun hung low. Wind brushed the grass like an old song. Graham rode ahead, lines on his face deeper than before. She followed, thoughts heavy, heart calm. At the ranch, he helped her from the horse. Neither spoke at first. The air carried everything words couldn't. Inside, Graham poured water over his hands. You shouldn't have done that in town, he said quietly. Let them. You stood up for me once. It's my turn. His gaze softened. You're tougher than you look, Mrs. Holt. Kinder than you think. They laughed, small, tired, honest. Outside, by the table where he bandaged her leg, the sky stretched wide. Silence now felt peaceful, not empty. You know, I thought running away would save me. Maybe what saves us is staying long enough to build something, she said. Out here, everything takes time. Fences, trust, love too, he said. You built this place for yourself, then made room for me. That's what love looks like, making room for someone else to fit. Guess we made it fit after all, he said softly. Evening faded. Crickets sang. Two hearts finally found home. Life gave scars to remind where we've been, and people to remind where we belong. Have you ever met someone who made you feel safe enough to stop running? Or are you still waiting for that kind of love?